Hello. I had my face up this time.
Okay.
Now I'm looking down to share our live.
Wow.
I
Well, we're
know. I
here.
always think that I'm gonna do it right on time, but it
Hey,
never works.
it's all right. We always pivot and make it work.
We always do. Hey y'all, I'm Sharita Walden, and I'm the co-host with my colleague.
Ryan Jones,
Yes, we
and
are
welcome to By Any Means.
by any means, y'all. We holding on. We holding on like a thread over here. Listen. It is a lot going on in our world. I need y'all to understand. We're gonna have a great conversation. If you missed anything, we're gonna catch you up. We're trying to get everybody on here, so please like and share our stream as we are doing right now on our end. So please do that. We are on YouTube too. You can go right to YouTube, put Kentucky Harm Reduction Coalition, like I'm doing on my phone, and you just share. It says we are live going right now. All right. So, with us coming to an end of this month, this has been Men's Mental Health and Pride Month and Father's Day and Juneteenth. I mean, there's a lot happening in the month of June, don't you think, Ryan? It's, it's a lot going on in June. And we're just kind of like, it feels like every day or holiday or what you want to call it is happening in June. Is there anything happening here though at KYHRC that we need to let people know about? Any events right now?
Yes, indeed. So on July the 9th, we will be hosting, having another episode, which we'll talk about here in a shortly. But we want to make sure that you join us every other Thursday at 1 p.m. Right here on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, wherever that you're catching us. We truly, again, thank you for joining us. Also, on July the 16th, we will be having another kit making party. We have them every other month on the third Thursday. And so at 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., you can join us at Louisville Recovery Community Connection Center at 1700 South 5th Street here in Louisville, Kentucky. It gives us the opportunity to connect with our community and to be able to utilize their help to be able to create our kits that we go out and we hand out to our community. And so again, you can go to our website www.kyhrc if you would like any life saving tools. If you would like to also get some overdose prevention tools as well. You can use the contact us portion on our website. You could also check us out on all social media platforms. And you can check out our calendar as well.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
doing that, Ryan. I sent my last one. I'm sending it right now. I have people that aren't on any social media, so trying to send it to them. I really need people to go ahead and subscribe. If you subscribe to our
Yeah.
YouTube station, then you will always be in the know about our podcast and when it starts. So please help us out and subscribe and share with everyone because this is what we do in the beginning, trying to keep up with everybody and make sure everybody is informed about what we're doing. So we're gonna reflect this month. I got a lot of questions for Ryan, so I'm gonna be picking his brain on this lovely, gloomy looking Thursday.
Yeah.
Um, this, I mean, I really want to know because I've been kind of missing in action with all things, and I want to really see where my colleague has been with all the things and all the people that he's been engaging with. So before we move into the new fiscal year is a big time for us at our organization as we get to reflect and reset and prepare for what we're going to do next year, right?
Right.
Um, Ryan, you've been on this journey with me all month, but as we close out June, what do you think would be the biggest takeaway from the conversations that you've been having online with people out in the community? What are some of your takeaways?
Um, I know with our last episode we talked about a lot about men's mental health. It helped me. We had two wonderful guests. One of them happened to be my grandfather, and
Just
so that
celebrated a birthday.
yes, he just celebrated his 78th birthday.
Woo!
Yes, and listen, my boy don't look no older than 40, and I pray that I can look as well as he does.
I know. He does not look like he's 78.
No, 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 and he tries
Papa.
to. Okay, Papa, I call him Pastor Papa. And then I also had a good friend, Tojo Brooks, and from Tojo BTV, and he was a man that was very influential in my recovery life, and so in that startup point, and so he wasn't my sponsor. Like designated, but he was my sponsor, if you will. So,
Okay.
and so we had great conversation talking about men and being what our episode title was, shoes of a man. And they
Mm,
and it opened up and shared some vulnerability with us about some experiences of a man that they had encountered from cancer to infidelity, and
mm,
so it was good to be able to gain some wisdom on how to be able to navigate, or even to be able to share with someone else how to navigate through life's challenges.
mm. So I think what I love about that is we did not get a chance to really highlight that last year. So I appreciate you um, bringing that to the forefront. I don't think we talk enough about men's mental health, especially when we're looking at what has been occurring in our communities far and wide. When I think about some of the tragedies that have happened recently with
Mhm.
folks deciding that life is just too much, right? Life is, it's a lot going on in life. Um, I've been following the news and in no way discounting the lives that have been taken by the hands of men. At the same time, we can't ignore that there's an there's something underneath. There's a root to all of this. We
Right.
can't ignore that. We can't ignore the fact that a lot of this has to do with untreated mental health issues, whether that's a personality disorder or a depressive disorder or even a mood disorder where the moods are up and down. We don't talk enough about that. So I appreciate you creating space, and I'm sure we'll be circling back into that. When I think about it though, because I'm not a man, right?
Right.
Uh, I'm not. I have a lot of masculine ways at times, but I'm not. And keep your jokes to yourself, people out there that's watching this. So, what do you think, though, Ryan? People misunderstand about men's mental health. What is the because there's a lot of energy that comes back, especially when we see people, you know, taking a life, right, and taking a life along with theirs.
Right.
What is that like? What does that look like?
And even when I want to first clarify what you just said, that was actually very profound. That you're taking a life in that life. Not only do we affect our own lives, but we affect the lives of those who love us.
Mm,
And so, with us taking a look at that part alone, um, as we talk about men or as fathers, and in all nationalities, all races, all aspects of life, whether you blue collar, yellow collar, green collar, whatever, whatever aspect
right.
of life that you're able to show up as a man, people merely misunderstand that
Mm-hmm.
that vulnerability does not mean that you are weak. And
That
so
part.
we talked about this as well on our last episode. How I brought up about the question. Well, one of the questions was about the misunderstanding, and one of the answers that came back was that how men train or teach other young boys that,
Mm,
oh, men don't cry, men don't hurt, men don't have feelings, men can't do that, a man can't do, no, that's for a woman, that's for, and
mm,
separating. But just because of, and I explained, and my response to that was that, I wasn't shown that 100%. I had my grandfather to show me that it is safe for a man to cry.
right.
But for you to be able to let it out, share your emotions, but not only just that, but for you be able to pick up from there and move on. And so, but a lot of times people think that it's the misunderstanding behind that is that, that a man is not supposed to do that. That's not what a man does. But who can really classify or dictate what really is for a man and what's really
Mm.
for a woman?
Wow. Wow. You took it there. And I think
Yeah.
that's a good I think that we need to have more conversation about it. And I think we need to plan. If you're interested in being a part of those kind of conversations, I encourage you to reach out to us. When I put that, um, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, that threw me off.
Yeah,
I was
forgive
like,
me.
uh oh, y'all. Let's not have no technical. We ain't even talking about nothing yet, system. Goodness. So when I think about, I don't know if my medicine kicked in or not. So
Okay.
when when I think about that though, and the people that connected with me when I asked about people being on our show, on the podcast, y'all, we having some technical difficulties, so they gonna start that kind of disrupts me. So don't say nothing if I go in and out.
Okay.
Is it okay? Are we
Hey, I'm not sure. I'm connected. I mean, it is supposed to be a storm coming through, so maybe that what is it's getting pretty gloomy and darker outside. So
okay? So bear with us, y'all. If we have technical difficulties, you know how it goes. We'll keep going, if we can. Okay. So I had a lot of people reach out and say they were interested. So if you are interested, reach out to us. Jump into our DMs on KYHRC or individually. If you want to connect with us, we want to continue that conversation because I think we don't create enough spaces. And in harm reduction, it's about meeting everyone, right? Everyone where they're at, not just a select few, right? So let's be mindful that this is the space that we want everyone to feel like their voice is included. Um, One thing that I want to share though is about Ryan and what people have shared with me, being in the same space with Ryan, how it shows up is his willingness to talk about the uncomfortable things, to share some of the uncomfortable things. A lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people don't know how to advocate for themselves, don't know how to speak up about uncomfortable situations. And Ryan has been doing that. That is part of how we take care of our mental health. But we know it's a growth piece,
definitely.
right?
Okay.
Not everybody can't jump into that. And if you work in systems and in spaces where you have not been encouraged to use your voice, um, you haven't been empowered to speak, then it can be complicated. But I tell people, try it. If someone says Hey, I want you to open up. I want to hear. Try them. That's how you learn to trust them.
Yeah.
You know, so that's I feel, Ryan, that is one part that I can, speaking to a male who actually does that, is speaking up. And at the same time, Ryan knows he still get encouraged. Speak up. Speak up. Don't hold it in. Don't keep it in. We can convince ourselves of all kind of things
Yeah.
in our own mind.
And even one of the things that I even that was said on the last episode was talking about normalizing seeking help. It is okay, and you know, people that are men that are in the black and brown community,
Hmm.
you know, guilty of it, but we don't like going to the doctor. We don't like
Mm-mm.
going to say, "Hey, I need some help." Hey, listen, you know, I even had to explain my reasoning, you know, sometimes of, you know, being the only male in the house, living in a household full of women, it can, you know,
Working in a household
and,
full of women.
and working in a house full of women, you know, having to, again, that thought process of what a man is supposed to do. They're supposed to take care of the house and protect the house. They're supposed to
Hmm.
do the heavy lifting, the you know, the more dominant characterizing things. But even at that, again, who's to say that the man cannot normalize seeking after help? It is okay to say, "Hey, I don't know this," or, "Hey, listen, you know, I'm not too proficient in this, but I'm willing to learn,"
Yeah.
or even just saying, "Hey, can you at least show me this one time, and then I should be able to get it after that," you know, and but the opportunity of it being presented will help normalize even the messaging that can come from it, even with normalizing it. But even with normalizing it, even allowing it become to come from coming from another man, another
Mm.
male, will actually can does make an impact. If I'm corrected, my grandfather mentioned how even that how he explained about a situation of someone going in and not being able to, the man not being able to to do a task, and it kind of flopped because he refused to ask for help.
Mm.
and
Yeah.
and and a lot of, and then on top of that, and especially in the mind, especially because we're talking about mental health as well too, and seeking help, and things go can become detrimental or even harmful, not only to that man, but to the people that's around that man,
Yeah.
his family, his co-workers, friends, you know, even in our faith-based systems as well too, our faith-based places, it is prevalent. Even in our unhoused community, it's prevalent
Yeah.
that men do not prefer not to ask for help.
Yeah.
They would rather struggle than to ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, can I ask you this then, Ryan? You're in a unique situation where people encourage it more. What kind of support can you offer to any man who's watching this or will watch this later? If maybe no one's encouraged that, maybe they're in a space where no one is encouraging that. How how can you support that individual, that man, that person that identifies as a man? How can you help them initiate that? Because that's a you have like a privilege. You're in a harm reduction space. You're in a space where you could even challenge your system that you work in and say, wait a minute, but our principles. So you have something you could actually stand on, even if everyone around you didn't. What about those that don't have it at home or in the office?
The first thing that I would say is to don't struggle in silence.
Ooh.
The silence actually is what will propel the burnout, propel the downfall, propel the setback. It will propel the hurt. It will propel the winds and the waves that are
Mm,
raging, or that could possibly become a rage or a harmful situation.
mm.
And yes, it probably is a little bit easier to coming from the lens of, already working in harm reduction, and understanding the notion of being able to walk alongside
Mm.
someone and have them to create their own path, and with the notation that there are many pathways that can be taken. But there are a lot of harmful pathways that are often taken because of not being able to open up or even have the opportunity to open up. And so it does take practice.
Yeah.
It does take a little bit of guidance, especially if you're in places where you may not be the yes, you may be the head of your household, but every place that you go, you can't be that leading person, that head person. And so being able, I'm actually reading this book called Leading from the Second Chair. And it talks about
Sounds good.
being able to stay in a leader's role but also be led and be able to have that distinction of being able to not just lead but leading to follow.
Yeah.
It's been very influential and helpful in my life actually, which actually causes me to be able to ponder and expound on what I'm feeling because of the simple fact that the silence. I do feel like I'm very encouraging to myself, and so I've been affirming myself that the silence cannot kill me. The silence
Ooh.
cannot no longer harm me. The silence actually produces freedom because
That's the word.
and I always gotta kind of bring it to a faith-based thing, but the sound that is created, it actually it helps you to remember that there is overcoming power that is
Yes.
actually released when you begin to create a sound. And
Yes.
so when someone is in distress, what do? They cry out, and or they scream or they may holler.
To release.
And you don't want sometimes these cries or this sound can sound fearful, or it can sound joyful, or it can sound sad, it can sound depressed, and not only just understanding what a person's sound can create, but that sound has to go somewhere.
Mm. It has to, that energy has to leave out. You made some really profound points. And like I said, I want to encourage folks as you join, please share the stream. I see my numbers are dropping a little bit, y'all. Come on now. I know it's a bedtime day. You got some, the gloomy skies is out there. I know, and you cuddled up in your bed. Go ahead, just push on there and share it on your page so people can join the conversation. Because again, this is yet another space where we're trying to say, come on in, come on in.
Yeah.
What I find interesting again, about this month with so many things, right? It's Pride Month, and on top of that, men's mental health. And there's a new I guess, celebrity who's out there who is sharing in his walk and his openness and being a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Uh, I don't know if you all have been noticing Wayne Brady,
Mm-hmm.
um, stepping into his whole self. And so, Sharita, why are you bringing up? Well, again, this is you have Father's Day this month. You have Pride Month. It's also Men's Mental Health Month. There's something to say about when a man struggles with owning who he is, walking in his truth. As a Black queer woman, right? I think there's a very big difference. Not to say that it's easy, I'm not discounting anyone's walk, right? And how they decided to walk in their queerness and in being a part of this community. But I do want to say, I think this is a prime opportunity to link what capitalism has done. Because either,
Mm-hmm.
y'all know how I feel about these days. We go get a card, go run and get a card, pay this. We go put up rainbows for this month. Juneteenth, we say, let me pause for a second. Please stop telling people happy Juneteenth because honestly, we shouldn't have to celebrate.
Right.
I need y'all to understand, and I'm really not talking to our people. Now, our people to each other, I get it. Happy Juneteenth, Ryan, my brother.
Right.
Um, it would be even more dope if I was talking to Ryan who lived in the state that actually became free for that time period. So let's be clear
Yeah.
that this was not all over the United States. This is because there was states in the South that were not free yet.
Yeah.
So that makes it even more profound when you really understand the root of Juneteenth. But when I hear people who don't look like us, not in our community, say happy Juneteenth, I don't think they understand that there's really not a happiness to the fact that we are celebrating another day to say we were actually elevated from being animals to humans. So let's be clear. I had to go down that rabbit hole real quick.
And it's funny you said that because I even in my travels home last weekend to visit my family, I was picking up the rental car,
Hmm.
and someone of not the Black and brown community, she told me on the way out, and I've seen her actually a couple of times renting cars, when I fly home or whatnot, and she this time said. Happy Juneteenth, and I so I didn't know.
I was like, how do I?
I don't even know how to feel, and I did. I had my hair in a ponytail, so I'm sure my hair kind of like it's because I didn't know how to take that.
Right. Cause it's like I know I had someone, a friend of mine, tell me that they were given the same. And I was like, you should have said, what you mean by that? And caught them off guard. But I'll start some trouble in a second. So maybe not.
Okay.
Um, but I bring that up because this I want people to understand that we are not individualistic in who we are, right? There
Mhm.
are so many parts of us that make up who we are. When people say, I'm filling out information, I'm going to do conferences, and they're like, tell me a little bit about your identity. And I'm like, you mean my identities?
Mhm.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I was born Black. So that's going to be an identity that you can see out front. And I love it. I love it because I love the chocolate of my skin.
Love it. Yeah.
Right? I love it. I love it. But I'm gonna say this. When I went to Africa Day Festival, I was like, I need to be chocolate-er. I need to be
Okay.
darker because boy, like Ryan, you fit all the way in. But let me tell you something. I'm not dark enough because I was like the beauty that walked around. But anyway,
Yeah.
the identities that we carry. One thing I love about pride is not prideful because some people even came back in our religious spaces. You're not supposed to be prideful. Well, I said no. It's about being proud of who you are.
Yeah.
It's about belonging. It's about being able to connect with people. It's about taking African and blackness, what we use in our communities, and say we are cousins, we are brothers and sisters, is we are family.
Yeah.
I can come to you about something that I can't share with other people. It's taking culture and putting, we create spaces for people who feel like they have not been able to identify a space. And I love that about Pride. At the same time, I
Yeah.
have hangups with Pride because no, you did not see me down on the waterfront.
Yeah.
Because what I don't play with is my identities.
Yeah. That's true
You're
too.
not going to tell me the city can take away rights or the state can take away rights, but then want to throw a big party and charge the VIP hundreds of dollars to stay cool in a vent tenant area, but you on the $10 tickets, you just get to sit in the hot sun on the great lawn. That's not fair.
And they,
That's why I go to Bardstown Road where it's free and where I can pour back into the community in the Highlands and pay the different shops and the restaurants and the bars. And that's, I am proud of my identity. So when we talk about pride, we're going
right.
to get into it.
Right.
Listen, we need to also talk about what it means to belong
Yeah.
and why I chose our organization not to pay a tabling event fee for a space so we can feel like we belong.
Yeah. And even to feel, nobody wants to feel isolated,
Right?
and nobody wants to feel abandoned. That
Right.
doesn't feel good. Nobody wants to feel, like they've been exiled and they've been banned, for any reason, because people say all the time, show up as your authentic self. Well, then when I show up as my authentic self, whatever that may be, queer, whether that may be trans, wherever that
Hmm.
may be, bisexual, pan, whether that is that you're black, you're yellow, you're brown, whatever
Come on.
you said for me to show up as myself. And
Yes.
so now that I do show up as myself, now because you see me now in the show up, in the
Hmm.
reality, oh, and I can only imagine the faces. People tell me about my facial expressions all the
All
time,
the time. All the
all
time.
the time, and it's something that I can't help. I would prefer my facial expressions than my words, but
That part.
even at that, just the understanding of, you wanted me, you said to show up, I showed up. Now there's a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah.
It's all right if they do it, but it's a problem when I do it. And then for someone who is bold enough to stand and advocate for themselves. Oh, now you're being you're being belligerent. Now you're making a scene, and really, I'm defending who I
I
showed up as.
hmm Yeah. I think people, well, this is the thing. When people say show up as yourself, they have an idea in their mind of
Oh, okay,
how
that's
to show
great.
up, right? So when I tell people, it's similar, right? I tell people, you know what? They like the energy in the presentation, right? When I'm just because I'm real energetic. But and Ryan, I was talking to Brian. Ryan has witnessed. Well, that same energy is there when I'm frustrated. That same, so the big, powerful, all that extra is great when I'm in this really high. I call it my balcony. All my clinical people, it's my balcony when I'm seeing it all. When I'm in the hope, when I'm in the basement, I'm still the same person. That means that my emotions are big. That means that my frustration may look big, it may feel big, it may be overwhelming.
Hmm.
And what we have done in harm reduction is we just create space for people to show up because that's what happens. It is. And because we witness it. I witness it, my colleagues witness it.
Yeah.
We know that there is an idea. So I like to tell leaders all the time, be mindful when you say it.
Yeah.
Because showing up as a person's self, you check and make sure you're not going off of, oh, because I like them in this one way when they show up. So I
Hmm.
like when they show up like that. But understand that when you tell someone to be authentic and you create the space for that, that they're going to show up.
And there's some,
Um, yeah,
there's actually some that um, I've seen it happen as well, and I've actually had to experience it as well too. The now that that I didn't meet that person's uh, thought pattern about how I was supposed to have shown up,
mm-hmm,
um, it can mess with your mental.
mm-hmm,
It can mess
yes,
with your mental really bad because
yeah,
now it makes you want to just say, nope, I'm not going nowhere else. I'm staying right here in my own little bubble.
right,
Or the times that it is needed and the opportunity has presented itself and it is the right space to open up. Now you're very still apprehensive about even, opening up because of that last experience.
right.
And you never know what your experience will end up being until you walk through it. But it also is a learning tool for all parties as well.
It is. That's a good one. Take that, you guys. It's a learning. That is what I tell people all the time. Learning. We're always learning
Yeah,
as long as we're alive. So it is lessons to be learned.
definitely.
Don't take it as a loss. So when we as we talk about we're coming to a close of the month that we get to celebrate being authentic. And I know some people, I think, because there are a few people I do know that walk in these spaces and they take advantage of this month and then feel like there's no other space. But I want to offer things as we continue in this conversation because it's similar to being Black. We have a month, 28 days or 29, depending on the leap year, that we get to be authentic and show up fully. I mean, I've been awarded an award and then excellence in leadership in 1 month and lost that job 6 months later. I mean, but I was excellent in the month of February. So be mindful that I definitely know what that feels like to be celebrated in this space, but how do I continue to carry it? So as we talk about what's next, which is why I get icky about the months. I like that we elevated here in our organization, but I'll be really transparent with everybody. If this wasn't KYHRC doing this podcast, I probably wouldn't do the months of anything because organizations tend to not continue on and try to work towards those goals. So they'll just deal with the month and be like, yep, so that was great for that month, but next month we're going to do something different. What I challenge us here to do is if we're going to meet people's needs this month, we're going to do the same thing the next month. We're going to figure it out. We're going to work with each other and figure out what to do next, right?
Right.
So I'm okay with talking about pride and mental health being a focal point, but I do want to keep it with why we're here and why we created by any means. Because what happens, what do we need to do to continue it on, to create safety? The first thing is understanding what we mean by what creates safety. What is safety? How do we get there? What happens when people feel safe? So before we can go into understanding how to create it in our spaces, let's talk about what happens and this is an open discussion, but I want you to chime in, Brian.
Hmm.
Uh, what gets in the way of, in your thought, in the way of authentic connection? Like, if you could just name it off the top of your head, what do you think gets in the way of authentically connecting to folks?
Um, how they will be received.
Okay.
They,
Okay.
yeah. I think that's to me the response that they will get, and the mystery of it, the
Yes.
mystery of the
It's unknown. It's
it really
unknown,
is.
right? Like I put myself out here and I'm not sure. I liken it to there used to be a smoking cessation commercial. I don't know if you guys remember uh commercials don't play like they used to because we're not all watching, just antenna TV,
Hmm.
local television. But it was I think it was a Chantix commercial where the person was stepping out on the ledge and they had to trust that it was like a clear thing they step into, that they were going to step on it and not fall off the ledge, but they were stepping. Every time they stepped, there was like a clear step right in front of them.
Hmm.
Every time I saw that commercial, and I used it in clinical spaces a lot with recovery, with folks in recovery and treatment spaces, is I would talk about that unknown, right? That
Hmm.
commercial gives me anxiety because I'm watching people and they're just like having to trust the process.
Yeah.
And so, what you actually, Ryan, when it comes to authentic connection, building relationships, that is number one. People are afraid or tend to be fearful of the unknown. What's going to happen on the other side? If I put myself out there, if I finally say, okay, I'm gonna take the chance,
Right.
and I say it about the people who have already decided in their heads. The same thing for the individuals who are struggling with authentic connection are dealing with the same thing that the person who sees you in your balcony,
Hmm.
right, and say they love your authentic self, but they've already decided that they like the balcony authentic version. You all, those folks are struggling with the same thing. It's
Yeah.
unknown. It's like I don't want to know what that looks like. This is this is why when I ran for office, my tagline was, don't trust me, try me. And that's really what it comes down to.
Right.
You got to try. And now the risk is there. But I tell people, when it comes to me feeling like I'm sane, one, healthy, that I'm learning to build relationships in a healthy way, is I will never know what it feels like, the complexity of relationship building. I will never understand it if I don't try it.
And see, there's there are healthy risks, but there's also unhealthy risks. And if there is some a good foundation that is already that's planted or that is
Hmm.
being built upon, and the which means that the trust factor is there, and so as you build, even with our participants, we just cannot go and uh, tell someone, "Hey, this is gonna work." um,
Right.
and they say, "Oh, okay, cool," and then let's go right now. No, it does not work like that, because
Right.
the trust has not been built. There has not been a foundation laid, or even explained, or even instructed or
Hmm.
guided through, and so there's nothing to rely on. And
Yep.
so utilizing a good foundation and being able, that's why in harm reduction we allows the participants to be able to guide those that are alongside them, guide
Hmm.
them through the process, and they can navigate their own way, and we can just be there to support.
Absolutely. And I'll throw this out there too to challenge folks. You may not have that foundation. Okay, you may not. Um, this is the one area where I tell people it's the most challenging, but it's the most rewarding. When you walk in a way where you fully just going to trust the process despite what happens, then you allow the chips to fall as they will. And I know that can be difficult. And the reason why I say it like that, and I'm gonna push people, is, and when I started working in this field, I was challenged a lot. I don't have a lot of the experiences that my clients have, right, and had in the way substance use disorder has been treated, has, it's been led by people with lived experience for so long that the idea of someone without direct lived experience, meaning maybe they did not put a needle in their arm, maybe they did not put anything up their nose, they're the only folks that can help.
Right.
That had become so ingrained that by the time I arrived in this field back in the early 2000s, that I had people just literally turn their back. I mean, women were sitting on the desk in Chicago like, I know you're not coming here to teach me nothing. And I was like, wow, whew, this is going to be hard. And I'm trying to build a whole career in this. But what I had to learn was that it wasn't my job to relive their life or even tell them how to live theirs. Um, my job was just to show another way, and then to allow whatever to happen. Now, that's not easy. And when you talk, there's been a lot of heartache and hurt and pain through living like that. But what I found and I discovered through my work, and then I had to put it into my personal life, is that if I trust it, it's going to come back around. Case in point is most of the people that come back to me, the Sashas of the world, and these are folks who have openly shared. I mean, Sasha had me on the news, with her, so I'm not sharing anything that's not out there. Rhonda's of the world, folks who had some real tough issues and have reminded me of some tough conversations we've had. They've come back and said that this was the changing point of their life. Now, I think my higher power, which is God, hands down, ain't no way this is Sharita, because Sharita can be a jerk. Okay, Sharita, me and my flesh, I can be a jerk. Okay, I know that. With God, though, and God leading me, and this is not to become a super religious, but it is spiritually founded. I know that what I'm doing is going to work. So I say that to you because some people be like, well, no, because the way that I'm going to say something or the way that I'm going to respond or the way people ain't going to like me. I said, well, then don't. Well, let them not. Because why is that the concern? For the person who's watching this and who's like, I want to show up and I want to be me, do it. Because you know what the beautiful thing happens is the right people circle you.
Yeah.
The right, and it's magical. The right people in your personal life and the right people in your professional life, they start to come around you in a different way. You start to be elevated in different ways that you notice, wait a minute, I don't really like how this feels. And I don't know how many of you all can relate to me, but you all can ask my mama. I had real growing pains when I was growing. I had like pains in my tendons and my joints where it got concerning from the doctor. I had these little insoles made for my shoes.
I had
Um,
to.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? I had real growing pains. Y'all, it is painful. It's a painful process, but it's so beautiful. The people who have been in my life that stay consistent are far and few between, but the ones that are still there, wow.
Yeah.
And then the people that have come around and the people I've had to shed and let go of. So those tough moments, those moments where you sit down and you say, this hurts and I don't like it and it's a struggle and I'm angry, let it sit with it, reflect on it, because what it's doing is it's growing you and it's stretching you. It's allowing you to move into that next, because you can't move into the next with the personality issues that you have right now. Like I'm telling
Mhm.
you, right?
That was one of the questions that I asked on the last episode was,
Mm,
what shoes are you leaving your
mm,
legacy to fill, or even to walk in? And that goes from, as we are wrapping up this Pride Month,
mm-hmm,
and as well as Juneteenth and Father's Day, all of the above, just aspects of life,
mm,
and whatever that may entail. What kind of legacy? What are you leaving behind?
mm-hmm,
Because we're not going to be here forever, but the time that you are here, what did you spend your time doing?
mm-hmm.
How did you impact the next? A lot of people even ask, we had one of our colleagues to go on and to embark and accomplish and achieve
Mm-hmm.
a big goal in his life. And the few of us that were there to celebrate, it was a wonderful thing to see,
Mm-hmm.
see people of all ages to
Wow.
reach a goal that was left behind.
Mm,
And so being able to know that there are people that had to come, and they were able to show up in themselves, but there were people and that were able to help push them along.
mm-hmm.
And so it's very important though for the people that come to help. You can't be Mr. and Mrs. Fix It. You cannot.
That part.
You
And
cannot
that's
be.
a go ahead, because that's a good one. Go ahead.
You can't be Mr. and Mrs. Fix It, because
Mm-hmm.
of the simple fact that you don't know what. And I know we talked about the shoes of a man, but the shoes of Ryan, the shoes of Sharita, the
Mm-hmm.
shoes of the neighbor, the shoes of the old lady down the street, or the shoes of anybody. Just think about the shoes
Mm.
that person had to go through, that you did not walk through.
Right. Right.
And so there was some things that happened that may have been left behind. There may have been some dreams that may have been they were so delayed that they felt unfair, that that they were abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
There may have even been some people or some hurts and pains that were along the way that you
Mm-hmm.
have nothing. You don't have it. Yes, you may have had something similar, but it wasn't like theirs.
Right. But we can't.
So we can't be Mr. and Mrs. Fix It.
And that stresses. You
Yeah.
add the whole listen, you said some really profound things as we're going into this last part. I want to share this. You know, this month has been about uplifting and empowering groups that have been pushed to the margins. This month has been about, making sure that we don't just choose a month. You know, Mother's Day, Father's Day, we should be holding these positions in reverence for the things that they do and have done, right? We, Dr. Gardner, we're not talking to you right now because you're supposed to be on here. Don't do that. I will call you out. And I saw Mama Eli on here. I was coming for her because I love her, but I wanted to make sure that my ADHD didn't fall that one off, Dr. Gardner. I'll let Ryan get with you.
We
But
love you,
this
Dr.
I want to share. I know that my colleague, because this is the thing, me and Henry did this a lot. Because Ryan would get up and be like, "Oh, what's going on?" So I'm gonna do it with Ryan. Ryan's going through his own growth phases right now. Ryan, y'all listen. When Ryan came to our agency and came into this work, I don't think he knew exactly. Did you know where he was going, or did you just okay? Ryan has helped us grow in ways and continue to help us grow. Um, but he's in a growth season. And I know I can see, I will tell you one thing about a visionary leader is that you see people and you don't see them for who they are in the moment. And why I like to mentor, why I like to push is because you see who they are later on. And that's a beautiful space, but I know it's hard. But I'm going to tell you this, who y'all see doing the production and host of this is in that growth space. And elevation is not just for 1 month. He elevates and empowers everyone, even folks who we don't get a chance to connect with because he's in different rooms that we as leaders are not always in. So when I say the things that he talks about on here when he's leading these conversations, they're real life things. They're real life topics. We're talking about the reality. So if you are in a growth season, I want to encourage you to do a couple of things. Ryan has his own time, prayer in the mornings. Every morning, unless something come up, Ryan is there. Okay. If I wake up on time, I'm hopping on. Right.
Keep going.
I know. Thank you. But hop on there because I've seen that space intentionally grow from where you started to now.
Hmm.
Growth isn't easy. However, it is definitely required.
Yes,
And
listen.
there was a prophetic moment that a person on this call gave me, and I'm shooting it right back to him, right out in the open. Growth happens regardless, transitions happen regardless. As we move into the next month, and Ryan's going to be closing out with us today, but I want to share with you all there was something Ryan talked about as we're going through, right? We're going through. We're not going to be here all the time. Shoes being left. Who are we leaving our legacy to, right? What does that mean? Do you even know what your legacy is? What's your legacy plan? Like all those things. We're going to be exploring transitions next month.
Yeah.
And we're going to be exploring grief, and we're going to be talking to not just the birth doula, but we're going to be talking to a death doula. We're going to be talking about grief as in all forms of grief, because yes, giving birth, baby, is a transition, and there is death when life is born. Amen. Right, Ryan. I know
Yeah.
you got the word for that, but there is death. There is something happening in that transition and in that change. So we will be having some really big conversations, stretching ourselves next month, and I'm excited about that
Yeah.
because one of those folks he's been doing. I never heard of a death doula
Me neither.
until I started following him a couple of months. Darnell Walker, a couple of years ago, and I was like, gosh, he's on to something. So July is gonna be an intentional talk. Yes, it's in the middle of the summer, but we don't take off as we talk about transitions, the dying of the old ways of who we were, moving into the new baby.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna pass it on off to Ryan, hey, Ryan to go ahead and take us up out of here.
Hey, listen, family, we truly thank you for joining. Listen, we got some great things and great conversations that are going to continue to come up. We want to hear from you. Listen, hit us up in our comments, hit us up in our inboxes, hit us up on our website. Listen, we want you to be a part of this By Any Means podcast. And so, listen, meet us every other Thursday at 1 o'clock. We'll be right here on all social media platforms. Dr. Gardner, we're gonna get you on the phone or in an email, and we're gonna get this going. Okay. All right. Listen, thank y'all so much for joining By Any Means podcast. Again, I'm Ryan and my co-host
Sharita.
Sharita. We love y'all. See you next time.